Hello, my name's Dr. Patel, and this might come across as a little bit of a rant, but I need to say my piece. I have heard a lot of things said by people in recent weeks about the COVID-19 vaccine, and most of it has been based on, utter BS actually. I think a combination of ignorance and misinformation breeds fear, and we know that ignorance breeds fear. And already there is a lot of global fear and anxiety around the pandemic. But what amazes me is some unique things I've sort of realised about human behaviour. We have on the one hand this global pandemic which has caused untold impact on all of us and continues to do so. Our very lives have totally changed. For many of us, jobs have been lost. There's less food on the table, there's more poverty, you name it. And to know that there is a solution out there, as long as enough people have it, i.e. the vaccine, that thought some months ago was just a dream, a fantasy. We didn't know if it would happen. And now it's here. There are people I'm hearing saying, oh, I don't think I'm going to have it. I don't know. What I'm really fed up of is hearing, I don't know the long-term effects. Do you realise how silly that sounds? I can't tell you how many countless things most people have either been prescribed or given or taken off a shelf or whatever that we don't know the long-term effects of. But you do it because you haven't thought about it. And somehow I think some people feel intelligent by saying, oh, I don't know the long-term effects. I like to know this thing. There are scientists, there are super geeks, there are people who know this stuff inside out, who dedicate their lives to this technology, who I stand by it and say, this is fine, this is safe. And you have to have some faith in that. This is only going to work if enough of us have it. If 70% of us have a vaccine, that's not going to be good enough. You don't get herd immunity from 70% of the population having it. I have had COVID-19 and I have the antibodies. In fact, I'm due to donate my plasma on, I think, the 30th of December. I am still going to have the vaccine. If today someone offered it to me, I would have it without a shadow of a doubt. So I want to do maybe a little series of videos in the new year if I can, but let me just tell you the bits I know, and I don't claim to be an absolute expert, but I'm fairly confident about the information I'm giving you. This virus, certainly the vaccine that's currently being offered in the UK, which is the Pfizer vaccine, is an mRNA vaccine. So, you know, everyone's worried about having a vaccine, or many people are worried about having a vaccine. The fact is that we've been having vaccines all our lives. Most of us will have been vaccinated multiple times by either inactivated or even live vaccines. The yellow fever vaccine, for example, is a live vaccine. So most vaccines have a weakened or an inactivated virus being injected into you to cause an immune system reaction for you to build antibodies. And people don't have a problem with that. Here, we don't even have that. The virus isn't even in this vaccine. mRNA is simply the instructions, the code or instructions for a little bit of protein, of the spike protein, which sits on the surface of the virus. That's all it is. And what's clever is when it's injected, your body, certain cells in your body, take these instructions, this code up, and replicate it. And get this is how amazing our body is. Once it's replicated it, it destroys that code. The code that's been injected into you is gone. And then these cells will then present this protein on their surface, and then other immune cells will detect this and go, oh, we need to build some antibodies against this. But this isn't the full virus. This isn't the bit of the virus that can actually cause the disease in you, make you ill, even take your life. It is just part of one little bit of protein, but it's enough to make you build the antibodies you need to the actual virus. So you have a solution which isn't going to cause the disease. It absolutely cannot. Some people have said, oh, you know, you can get side effects. You can get it from any vaccine, and the reason is because when your immune system wakes up to build those antibodies, the very thing you're asking it to do by taking the vaccine, that is part of a complex biological response. And so you can get a mild fever or a little bit of discomfort where you've had the injection. That's normal. That is absolutely normal. But they're transient. You know, when you look at the studies that have been done, and thousands of people had this vaccine in the studies, there were transient side effects in those who had it, you know, for hours or a day, 2 days at most. The other people are saying, oh, it's new, you know, that it's very new, we don't know about these things. Actually, mRNA technology has been around for years, absolute years. The other thing people are saying is, oh, it's been developed too quickly. This did not start in February. The COVID family of viruses, remember it's a family of viruses, COVID-19 is one of them, has been known about for many years. And so work on vaccines started years ago, I think 2012, if not earlier. So all they did was accelerate things. Normally when any drug, vaccine or otherwise, is being developed, there are 4 main phases. And these are costly processes. So when one phase is complete, you know, there's evaluation, and then there's planning for the next phase, and then there's more evaluation, and then there's planning for the next phase. This all takes time. When you're recruiting 10, 15, 20, 30,000 people into a study, this, can you imagine, it takes time, money, you know, logistics, you name it. It's a huge process. So of course these processes can take 10 years. But imagine if something was so important to the entire globe. Imagine if every day something was affecting the globe, it was costing us billions and billions of pounds. Well, we had it this year. So guess what? Unlimited resources, unlimited money went in, and something else happened. Teams of experts who otherwise would have worked in isolation came together. Cross-country collaboration. You put unlimited resources, especially money, other planning resources, teams working together, and you can accelerate a process that might take many years into a year. And that's what's happened. And furthermore, by making this, certainly this vaccine, an mRNA vaccine, you can actually, if you look into this technology, it's actually much quicker and easier to develop and to mass produce. So when you start looking at all the science and how the process has been speeded up, you realize that actually someone hasn't just gone, oh, well, I'm sure that's okay, let's move on to the next phase. Oh yeah, I'm sure they'll all be fine. Of course it hasn't happened. You know, the regulatory bodies, in the UK it's the MHRA. Okay. They are independent of any political party, of any other agenda. They have to be. Okay, all our drugs, everything is put through this body. And the process is rigid, and that can never be compromised, and it hasn't been in this instance. So for people to say, well, you know, if I get it, I get it, you realise how silly that sounds, because even if you're fit and young, and I've been saying it, yeah, young people, okay, are very, very unlikely to die of this illness, and also quite unlikely to fall seriously ill with it. But you look at how many people have long COVID. You look at how many people still feel that they're slightly slow on their thinking, still can't enjoy a single meal because they've lost the sense of taste or smell, and a whole host of other symptoms, chronic fatigue, you know, not being able to function on a daily basis. All these symptoms anyone is vulnerable to from COVID-19, but you're not going to get it from the vaccine. So it makes absolutely no sense for people to decline the vaccine. A mass effort is required. Any remaining risk that you might have perception of in your mind, that should fall to the wayside, because you have to think of the responsibility to humanity as a whole. And the only way we're going to overcome this and try and get some relative normality back is if we uptake this vaccine in a global way. And you can't rely on the next person doing it, because we have to all do it together. So unless it's contraindicated in you, which very few people are, you should be taking it. Few points, unfortunately, with pregnant ladies, it probably is safe, but it hasn't been tested enough, so they've not been able to prove it for pregnancy, unfortunately. But once you've had your baby, of course you can have the vaccine. The other thing is that someone the other day, I had a patient who's a member of a care team who said, oh, we as a team have decided not to have it. You know, we're going to wait. So when I asked further, she said, oh, when someone said if you're allergic to penicillin, you can't have it. This is all rubbish. This is all rubbish. Very few people would be inappropriate not to have a vaccine, and your medical provider who's giving you the vaccine will be able to advise you accordingly. So my underlying message is please, 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 when it becomes available to you as an individual, please take it. And anyone you know who's got any doubts, please share this video. There's other videos out there with a lot of information, good information, but do not base your decision on misinformation or ignorance, which many people are. Thank you very much.